Hey everybody, what's up? You can see the title up there. I want to talk, if not rant a little bit, on the creative direction of WWE. Now, in case you didn't watch OTRS's review today of Raw, yesterday, you can pretty much tell that Jeff Siegel, the Schleg Daddy, wasn't too happy with the way Raw is. Now, he said there were some bright points, but there weren't many. And that essentially, with the exception of those two beacons of hope, as he puts it, 3 hours were wasted last night. 2 nights ago, I should say. But why were they wasted? Why were they wasted? You see, this is a question I'm sure not just Jeff has, but everybody has. Why is it wasted? And what's up with WWE when it comes to that? Well, it's real simple. Now, I want to let you people know that these are my opinions. You can agree with them, whether you can agree with them, or you can't, or you don't have to agree with them. But these are my opinions, and this is the way I look at it. WWE essentially shot themselves in the foot earlier this year. Yeah, July 23rd was the starting of the shooting in the foot. It was the starting of the downhill, if you will, for them when it comes to things creatively. Because what did they do at the end of Raw that night, on Raw 1000? What did they do? They essentially slowly started the turn for CM Punk to go heel. Something that, in my honest opinion, they could have held off on until around next month. Because at least maybe this month and next month. Because what better way to slowly start turning him heel and make him full-fledged heel than going into a potential championship match against The Rock at the Royal Rumble? Because think about it. Here you have CM Punk who on screen and in real life was trained and raised in the business via the old school ways, essentially being the kind of guy that would look at someone like The Rock, who literally, let's face it, is being handed a WWE Championship match on a silver platter at the Rumble, would look at a guy like Rock being literally handed that opportunity on a silver platter, and who wouldn't be pissed off? Who wouldn't be angry at the fact that this is happening and that a guy like The Rock has not done anything physically in the ring to earn that reputation, to earn that title match? I mean, what did The Rock do, maybe in the minds of CM Punk? What did he do to earn it? Let's see, he teamed with John Cena, and he beat John Cena. Okay, so he had 2 matches since he's come back. But essentially, what has The Rock really done? In a storyline capacity that CM Punk could have benefited with going heel around this time? Nothing. And you see, that's what WWE did. They did not wait on the heel turn. Now, I admit, they slowly progressed in that direction. I admit that. But even still, there are people that still pop for CM Punk. They still cheer the man. And you can have CM Punk go out along with Paul Heyman or whoever, and you can have them do as much as they can to get heat. You can have them play on a recent heart attack. You can have them say this, you can have them do that, but still people will cheer him. And why? Because of the fact that they still view him as a face. Yeah, as crazy as it sounds, they still view him as a face. I mean, yeah, I admit he's doing a great job as a heel at most times. I admit he's doing the best he can as a heel. But the thing is, to me, turning him heel the way they've been doing was far too soon. They should have waited to at least this past Monday, 2 nights ago, to start doing it. Because it would give them the rest of November, and it would give them most of December and most of January to go full-fledged heel going into a match with The Rock, because it would make more sense. It would make more sense. And to me, that's what WWE creative, and if CM Punk had any say in it, that's where they shot themselves in the foot. They should have held off on it. They should have said, no, we're not going to turn him heel just yet. They should have held off on it. But they didn't do that. And why? Because they needed to do it now. Because why? Because they needed to do it when they wanted to. Because they felt the summer was the best time. No. No, you don't do it at that time. You don't do it at a time you feel is best. What you do is you do it at a time you know is going to work properly. You do it at that time. Yeah, you can go ahead and make Punk do some heelish antics, but still have him as a face. You can have him be like a tweener face, if you will. Like I say, have him do heelish antics, but still have him be a face. You could have done that and then waited for the full-fledged heel turn until now. Until at least maybe middle, maybe beginning, but more so after Survivor Series, into December, and mostly into January. You could have waited on that, but you didn't. You didn't wait on that. They didn't wait on that because basically WWE Creative shot themselves in the foot by doing it. And essentially, why did they shoot themselves in the foot? Let's see. They have potentially other people that could be great heels, and some that want to be heels, but they say, no, we're going to take the anti-established guy who is basically essentially our second, if not our top babyface at times, and we're going to turn him heel just for the heck of it. You don't do that. You got guys like Randy Orton who wants to desperately be a heel and is probably finally getting that opportunity very soon. You could have done it with him. You could have done it with him as soon as he came back. But you didn't. Heck, you could do it with the fucking Rock for that matter. You can have the Rock come back and say he's the people's champion. And then you can have someone that's a shooter. Someone that's a pipe bomb artist. A master of the pipe bomb, if you will. CM Punk come out and confront him and say, if you really are a champion of the people, then you should be here competing every week, if not every night. You should take that movie career of yours, put it on the shelves, and say, I'm more WWE, I'm a wrestler first, and a movie star second, and have that be sort of the beginning of maybe a Rock heel turn. But no, they decided to go with the second, if not top babyface at times, in CM Punk. It doesn't make sense. And then, besides that, what do? Well, let's see. They put CM Punk in a triple threat SummerSlam, which he basically steals a win in, which is a heelish tactic, slowly starts to turn. You have him go to a draw with John Cena and Night of Champions, which is not really a heelish turn, just shows that both can put on a great match to the point that neither will win if it's a draw. And then what do? And then what does WWE do? What does WWE Creative do in desperation? What do they do in desperation? I tell you what they do in desperation. They turn CM Punk into a chicken, into a coward. And why? Because they want to make the new mammoth, unstoppable, unbeatable monster, the new big thing, if you will, in Ryback, look intimidating, even to the point that the WWE Champion, who is one of the best wrestlers in the company right now, is scared to death of the guy. And all because creatively they shot themselves in the foot when they did the CM Punk heel turn. And then they further started to shoot themselves in the foot by putting Ryback immediately in a title situation. Now I can understand you want to show that, I can understand maybe from a storyline aspect, you want to show someone like CM Punk being a great technical wrestler, being the best in the world, but essentially being no match for a muscle-bound guy like Ryback. I can understand that. And I can understand having him do whatever it takes, whether it's ridiculous or not, just to beat Ryback. I mean, I mean, you want to know how much they shot themselves in the foot when they put Ryback in the title picture? They essentially had to go and say, okay, how do we keep the belt on Punk, but we make Ryback still look credible? Oh, I know, let's, boing, have Brad Maddox or Maddox low blow the guy and say, oh, the reason he did it is because he wanted to make an impact and because he wants to be a WWE star. Okay, where did that make sense in? I mean, you could have had Ryback win the match, gone into the triple threat this past Sunday at Survivor Series, and drop it to CM Punk the same way CM Punk won and retained. It would have made sense. Because CM Punk at least would still have the match, would once again be champion. Sure, he wouldn't have reached his year, but he'd still have the championship, and he'd be able to go on to face The Rock at the Rumble. You'd still get your Punk Rock match at the Rumble. That would have made more sense. Instead of pushing yourselves in the corner and continuously shooting yourselves in the foot. But that is not all. That is not all. In desperation to preserve that Ryback's an unbeatable monster in Punk, in the case of CM Punk, and even John Cena, probably realizing that Ryback's not that easy to beat, if not unbeatable at all, if basically is unbeatable to even them. What do? You bring in 3 NXT guys that you could have debuted. You bring in 3 NXT guys that you could have debuted at different moments in their career, different times. You bring them in, and for what reason? To powerbomb Ryback and still make him look credible and unbeatable to someone like Punk. And maybe even Cena. And for what reason? Because you want to do another NXT invasion? And speaking of invasions, a lot of people already are starting to probably say that this is nothing more than a WWE's answer, if you will. A WWE's answer, if you will, to TNA's Aces and Eights. Well, hello, the difference about Aces and Eights, if you will, and this possible NXT or as rumors going around the name for the group, the Shield Invasion. The big difference is Aces and Eights are supposed to be like outsiders, non-contracted guys. Well, NXT are contracted guys. And all they're doing is trying, what? What are they going to do? Try to prove that NXT's on the same level as Raw and SmackDown? I mean, come on, folks. You need to come up with something better than that. And hopefully you give us an answer on Monday. But you think that's bad, though? You think that's bad? In desperation to try to keep things interesting, what do? What does WWE do? One of the things people have criticized them about the most, you essentially rip off the AJ Styles, Clara Lynch, Dixie Carter, Frankie Kazarian, Christopher Daniels storyline. True, I agree with some people when it's said that they go in a different direction. I agree with that. But here's the thing. Even if you're going in a different direction, it's still the same storyline. You have somebody accusing 2 individuals for doing something that they didn't do, and trying to say, oh, we have this evidence, we have that evidence, just like Daniels and Kazarian did. You have someone, in this case Vicky Guerrero, saying they have evidence, just like Daniels and Kazarian did, and with maybe, like I say, a few exceptions, like this past Monday, all you have with those few exceptions here and there is the same storyline. And what is the same storyline? What is the reason for this? Well, I'll get into that in part 2.